Hi guys, thanks for tuning in today. Today I'm going to show you how I re-zinc plate these carburetor linkages. We can go from this rusty linkage to this brand new looking zinc plated linkage, all with an at-home kit. This kit comes from Caswell. It's very inexpensive and it pays for itself 10 times over. You can do all kinds of stuff. I do VIN tags, specialty bolts, and you can use your original bolts, so you're not putting in, Chinesium bolts hardware on your brand new restoration project. I did this starter. This cap was all zinc plated and offers really good protection. It's just as good as factory. The same process the factory uses. Then we can also use yellow chromate like this here. A lot of factory pieces came with this yellow chromate. Different manufacturers use this. Bushings with the yellow chromate hardware. So a lot of uses for this, but I'll show you on the linkages. I had a lot of requests for how the linkages on the carburetor rebuilds were re-zinc plated. So we'll take this one apart and I'll show you how I start getting the system ready, and I'll show you the system and the complete process, including some yellow chromate. We'll do a set. I have another set of these. We'll do a set with just the clear zinc, this is called, and we'll do a set with the yellow chromate. So you can see how both processes work. And this can be done at home. I just use a vapor rust to take the rust off of here, and then a wire wheel. You can bead blast it if you have a bead blaster, but it's not necessary. Wire wheel does good. You do want to wire wheel it, even if you do bead blast it. You want to wire wheel it to get a little more of a shiny finish. If you just go right from the bead blaster to the plating, it'll leave kind of a satin finish. So it depends on what you're looking for. You can shine it up a little with the wire wheel. Basically gives it kind of a polish. So we'll do that. I'll show you how it goes, and we'll come out with this looking like this. Okay, we're going to start with getting the solutions up to temperature. These all need to be pretty warm, 100 degrees or so. There's actually technical data sheets on exactly where to get it, but if you get around 100, you're pretty close. So I'm going to start putting the heaters in here and getting these ready. This is the zinc bath. Yellow chromate. These are just simple aquarium heaters. And this is just an aerator for aquarium. And that'll circulate the zinc solution. So while this is warming up, we're going to go ahead and get the linkage ready. So we'll let this soak in the evaporust for a few hours. Okay, so here we have them back from being in the evaporust and polishing them up on the wire wheel. See, there's some pitting on this one. That's just going to be the way it is. You're going to see that after plating. There's not much you can do about that. This one here doesn't have as much, so this one will come out a lot nicer, but unfortunately not much you can do about the plating. The only way to fix the plating is if you would put down copper and then file it all up and finish it up almost like body work, and then nickel plate it over the copper. That's really the only way to do that, but this isn't that critical, so the pitting will have to be there. So we're going to wire it up on some copper wire so we can get it in the plating solution. We can wire two up on one wire. These have little holes for cotter pins that I can thread the wire through. Just want to wire it up any way you can. If you have to, you can move it a little during the plating process so you don't get a line where the wire is. So these are all set now, so we'll take it over to the plating solution and start the plating. Here's what I have for a power supply. This is an HP power supply. It's relatively cheap. I got this used on eBay. It's a 30 amp, 0 to 30 amp. It's adjustable, so it works out really nice for all kinds of stuff, not only just plating. You can use this to test bulbs. I've even put it on a car when I've put a new wiring harness in to slowly bring up the amperage so you don't cook everything. You can kind of, it'll actually trip if there's a short. So this is very versatile. And that's what I use for plating. You can use even battery chargers, all kinds of stuff. There's places online that will tell you what you can use. But and Caswell does sell a power supply. But this is really what you want to get. Is just look on eBay for it's under like scientific equipment, and just get a cheap variable power supply. DC power supply is what you want. And so I have the leads hooked up here. I have 2 positive leads and 1 ground. That way I can hook up two zinc anodes, so you can hit the part from front and back. Or you could put a jumper cable between the 2 anodes. But I just have 2 wired into the power supply. So I just checked the solution with, this is a candy thermometer. 105 is technically, I think, where it should be. So this is just a tick over 100. So this is good to go right now. Like I say, this is a candy thermometer. You can use a point and shoot infrared thermometer if you have one. But that works really good. And I always sandblast. This is just copper pipe, hammered down and bent over. This is where I'll hang the parts from. I sandblast this every time. This is an acidic solution, so it'll end up turning green and corroded by the end of this. So, and what happens is this gets grounded. So this is the ground from the power supply, and these two here then will go to the anodes. And this is the anodes. It's just a zinc plate, and I have two of these. You can actually put there's a cloth that you can put over this to kind of stop. This will deteriorate and kind of leave a grit in the solution. But I'll take like a 200 micron paint strainer and strain this fluid every now and then. This will last theoretically forever unless you contaminate it. You really have to be careful going from like an acid solution or the degreaser. You want to rinse that completely off, and I use distilled water as a spray, and also dunk it in pure distilled water to make sure that you're not contaminating this solution. So once you do that, you pretty much have to buy a new kit. So I got the two anodes in there, and then we'll go ahead and hook up. These are the positive leads. So basically, it's taking positive charge to the anode, and the zinc is being deposited, pulled in by the negative on the part. So now we have to take the parts out of the degreaser, and we'll rinse that off really good. This is fresh distilled water. So these parts here are out of the degreaser, and we'll go into the wash. And then I spray it with the distilled water just to be sure. I don't want any of that degreaser on the part and getting in the solution. You really want to get a good contact here. Sometimes I'll take binder clips and clip these down to really press it against there, but I don't have any right now. So now that we have it wired up, what we're going to do is slowly bring up the amperage. There is a formula that you can use. It tells you like per square inch how many amps you should use. It's like 0.1 per square inch. So you kind of have to guess on this unless you're going to go and figure it all out. But you can usually get a pretty good guess, and you can kind of watch it. If you get too much amps, you can actually start to burn it. It'll start turning black. You'll get black streaks. The black streaks usually will come off in a 5% acid solution, but it's better to avoid it if you can. So, and you can leave it in longer if needed. I'd rather go a little bit lower and longer than too much amperage. So we're going to start with about probably 0.5 on this here. It's not much square inches of material here. So we'll go with start with 0.5. We'll probably go up to maybe 1 amp, and that's it. And 15-20 minutes, we'll take a look at it as it's going. So here's the power supply, and you can slowly bring up the amps, and it's at 0.14 volts. This is 0.2 amps. Go up to 5. So we're at a half an amp, 0.2 volts only. So it doesn't take a lot. And we'll take a look and see how it's working. So if you look in here, now you can see, especially on the wire, that it's starting to plate. And what I'll do is during the plating process is I'll move these anodes around to try to hit it at different angles. It's kind of like painting. You want to get it at all different angles. So I'll give this 15 minutes and pull it out, take a look at it, see how it's doing. Okay, so this has been about a half an hour in here, maybe a little bit less, and I think it's good to go. I've been checking it now and then, and I think we're good to go for pulling it out. And one set we'll do with the yellow chromate. So that's what I'll do first here. So we'll pull out this one here. And what I do is rinse it. And then we'll do about 5 seconds in, this is a 5% acid mix, acid pickle they call it, 5% muriatic acid. And that just gives it a slight etch. And that's about it for that. And I'll hit that with distilled water. So you don't want to get any acid solution into your yellow chromate. And that I find makes the yellow chromate adhere real nice. So now we'll go into the yellow chromate. And here we'll do about 15 seconds. And so after about 15 seconds, it goes into, this is fresh distilled water. And there you have it. And then what I do is I put this into a toaster oven at about 150 degrees or so to dry it. And here we have the yellow chromate out of the oven, and you can see there's like a rainbow iridescence to it, just like factory, you know, pinks, greens, golds. Comes out really nice. I had it in the toaster oven for about 15 minutes, just basically to dry it, and it really brings out that iridescence, and it makes it real durable. You have to put it in that acid pickle just to give it a slight etch. Otherwise this could rub off. Had that rub off before if I didn't use the pickle. Here's the difference. And there's also a blue chromate you can get that's basically clear. It gives it just a slight blue tinge, but it gives it the chromate protection. This chromate actually does protect it a little bit, but the blue will give it kind of a little bit of a blue hue, more of a chrome, maybe leaning towards a chrome look. It shines it up a little bit. But otherwise, this zinc is good to go, just like this. And this is the one that was pitted. And this was the good one that I put in the yellow. So we'll put it on the carburetors and take a look at it. Okay, so here you have the final product here. Came out really nice. This is a black chromate. It is exactly the same process as the yellow chromate, but gives it that kind of a black oxide finish. But it still has a little bit of that iridescence in it. It's more protective than a black oxide. It has the zinc layer under it. So that works out good. Volkswagen used a lot of hardware with the black chromate or the black oxide, so that's good to have for nuts and bolts and stuff. Not a lot of linkages use it, but you can if it was used. Here's our yellow, and that came out nice. Kind of has that iridescence in it. A lot of carburetors use this. And then this is the plain clear zinc. And you can use, like I said earlier, there is a blue chromate that just basically is a protectant. It's not really a blue. It gives it a little bit of a blue tint, but not much. Basically a clear. It's kind of like almost like a clear coat. But the regular zinc is fine. It lasts. This lasts a long time. So those are the three. You can basically do this all pretty easily at home. And like I say, the kit pays for itself. You know, these parts are no longer made, so if you wanted something like this, you'd have to do it yourself, or you'd have to send it out. And I've had places ruin parts already. They don't. They have a tendency to put in a real strong acid. I've had brake calipers where they've eaten the threads out of the bleeder spots, and it's just, you're taking a chance sending it out. So as long as you send it to a reputable place, you'd be okay. But you'd pay for this kit, you know, your first time sending stuff out. So that's what we have. Turned out really great. Please leave a comment. Let me know if you've done this or if you have any questions. And thanks a lot for watching. And please subscribe and give me a like if this helped you out at all. And have a good day. Thank you.